What is usually a big weekend for air travel might be overshadowed by the looming job loss in the airline industry. Passengers slowly returning to the skies, but what does it really mean here on the First Coast for the region's largest airport? Our Alex Osiris is on your side tonight, joining us from Jacksonville International Airport tonight.
The bounce back may not be overwhelming, but there are folks here traveling at Jacksonville International Airport. Just a few months ago, there weren't nearly as many.
A recent record weekend for TSA across the country is 832,000 passengers were screened, an amount not seen since March when air travel screeched to a near halt. The last time 1 million people flew, March 16th. Then, a month later, the trough of the wave with a mere 87,000 passengers in the air.
At Jacksonville International Airport, air travel down 97% in April, 90% in May.
The airport cut ties with dozens of staff, turned down the lights, and put expansion plans on hold. Jacksonville Aviation Authority CEO Mark Van Lowe previously explained to the On Your Side team with fewer travelers at gates, parking, and shopping, revenues have fallen. Airlines, including those serving the First Coast, say if traffic doesn't improve, layoffs would be likely when billions in government aid runs out in October. Delta reportedly asking 3,000 flight attendants to take unpaid leave, and more than a quarter of Southwest staff have accepted buyouts or will be staying home for an extended period.
The Jacksonville Aviation Authority says that they're in talks with airlines to discuss bringing back some of the routes that were lost during the pandemic and even seeking more opportunities. Reporting, Alex Osiris, First Coast News, On Your Side.